Namaste. We will start, Sanya ji.
Namaste. Good evening and a warm welcome to everyone. Today, all of us are gathered for Global Yoga Festival, and the speaker for today is Dr. Nataraj. Dr. Nataraj was born in Zimbabwe, is of an Italian heritage. He is qualified as MBBS medical doctor, and he has joined Sivananda Yoga Vedanta Centre organization in 1997. He is currently co-director of the Dhanwantari Ashram in Kerala with his wife Kalyani ji. Welcome, Dr. Nataraj.
Thank you. Can I start the screen sharing from my end? Hi. Sorry. Can you hear me? Hi. Namaste. Namaste to everybody. I'd like to do the screen share. Is it okay?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. Thanks.
Your video is also off, so you can.
I will start. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Namaste, sir.
Hi. Namaste. Thank you very much for inviting me and making me part of your festival. That's very nice and privileged for me to be here. And I'm very happy to be presenting this topic. And also my gratitude to Dr. Vikas, who had a good fortune to meet, it must be at least 2 years ago at our Yoga and Ayurveda conference in Delhi. Yeah. So due to that good fortune, I'm happy to be here also. Thank you so much for inviting me. So I'm going to start my screen share. If you could just hold on, please. Okay, is it visible?
Yes.
Great. Okay, and it's a presenter view, right? The proper view.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
Okay, nice. So I would like to start as usual in our traditional way with an opening prayer. So if you would like to join me in a Shanti mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahe Tejasvina Vati Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I salute my gurus, Bola Sadguru Sivananda Maharaj ki Jai, Swami Vishnu Devananda Maharaj ki Jai. Om Tat Sat. So I chose the topic of yoga or synthesis, or what is also called synthesis of yoga. Depends which author you're looking at. Swami Sivananda, our guru master, used the term yoga or synthesis. But this is a topic that is quite well known and described by many gurus, including Swami Vivekananda. He was famous for writing volumes on the 4 paths of yoga, as well as Sri Aurobindo. He developed this concept of yoga synthesis to another level as well. So it's a very well developed theme and topic by many yoga gurus. And I'm following Swami Sivananda's tradition here in our organization called the Sivananda Yoga Vedanta Centers. Our organization was founded by a disciple of Swami Sivananda, whose picture, sorry, you see behind me here. That's Swami Vishnu Devananda from Kerala. And he spent time with Swami Sivananda about 10 years before he was asked to go to the West. And he reached America back in 1957 and started our organization in Canada, actually, the headquarters in Canada. So, but at the same time, we are following the teachings of Swami Sivananda, essentially, who we take as our master. So let me start the talk on the subject of yoga. Okay, so as we all know, what is yoga? And we all know that the most popular definition of yoga comes from huge union. And and then we talk about synthesis, yoga or synthesis. So it's almost like repeating the same word twice. Yoga means union, and synthesis, if we look at the dictionary, synthesis is a combination of chemicals or ideas, etc. Any combination is called synthesis. So it's almost like we're repeating the same thing twice, uniting and then combination, bringing things together. So what are we referring to here? And so let's look at the words separately. Yoga, when we talk about the union, the most sort of fundamental concept of yoga for union is the union of the individual soul with the supreme soul, what we call the Atma and Parat Atma. So that's the ultimate point of yoga, what we call moksha, that final union and realization of the oneness of life, right? And to get to that point, of course, it involves many steps, because for most of us, life is not union, it's fragmented in so many different parts and pieces. And but yoga, of course, has a very holistic approach to life and to the individual. And so the yoga, all the yoga systems prescribe holistic practices which help to bring together also, you could say, the physical, mental, and spiritual aspects of each individual. So another common and popular definition of yoga is union of the body, mind, and soul. So many people relate to yoga on that level to help balance their body, mind, and soul. And but of course, ultimately, yoga goes beyond the body, mind, and soul to the ultimate moksha. So essentially, we can say that when we say the synthesis of yoga, we can say that all the practices that bring us closer towards moksha is part of yoga. And so bringing all these parts, all these practices, because yoga is a huge umbrella term, actually. I'm sure you're all familiar with different teachings of yoga, so many different scriptures from the Vedas, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, Tantras. There is a wealth of sources of knowledge in the yoga tradition, which we call yoga. So bringing these things together, we can say is a kind of synthesis of yoga, because itself, yoga is not a simple thing when you look into it. Of course, we take Patanjali Maharishi as the father of yoga, but there are also many other sources and information and methods from many other sources. From our point of view, yoga is as a science, because it's based on methods of practice, and by putting these things into practice, we get certain results or experiences. And ultimately, these experiences should take us closer towards liberation or moksha. And we can say that all the ancient sages and yogis were really what we call modern days, like scientists, what we call today scientists. But actually, in those days, they would be called sages and rishis. And beyond the normal science of everyday, today's life. Because, of course, the ancient yogis didn't, of course, they looked at the outside world, but they put most of their efforts and attention into themselves to see, who am I? To answer that question, who am I? So they explored themselves as a kind of laboratory. And their body and mind were the laboratory that they were using and exploring, and doing so many different kinds of experiments. And these experiments ultimately become what we call our yogic techniques. And through their own experience, direct experience, they got results, they had experiences, they got knowledge, they got higher and higher levels of consciousness, to the ultimate stage of what we call that enlightenment or moksha. So like any scientific system, if you follow the steps, you should get the same results. And it's because of that, we can say that, yoga is still here after thousands of years. It's still very much present in the culture, and it's alive today as it was thousands of years ago. Because the system is not just a fashionable thing, like many things that come in history have come and gone because of certain, fashions or ideas. But yoga is based on reality that is eternal and universal. So the knowledge of yoga will never disappear, because whether even if the yogis are there or not, that reality will always be there. And yoga shows us how we can connect to it. So the knowledge of yoga has, of course, been documented in so many different scriptures, as I mentioned already, including things like Yoga Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, Vedas, and so on. So generally speaking, when we look at the human situation, we can divide the human faculties, as Swami Sivananda says, I'm quoting him directly, that the human faculties can be broken into three parts, what we can generally call the head, the heart, and the hands. So head means the thinking process, heart means the emotional experiences that we have, and feelings, basically our feelings. We all have feelings as well as thoughts. And then hands represents our actions, what we do in the world. We use our hands for work. So broadly speaking, we can look at our life on these three levels: the thinking aspects, the feeling aspects, and the action aspects. And the thinking aspects, the head, can be further subdivided into what we call our ordinary mind, which in Vedanta we call manas. The manas, the ordinary mind, that is doing the very simple, basic level of thinking and survival that we have, and reacting to stimuli. And then, being human, we have even a higher level of mind. And really, this is what makes us different from other animals. We have what we call the buddhi, or intellect, the rational aspect. And because of that, buddhi, it's a mental function, really. It's another level of mental functioning. You could say it's another operating system, is the buddhi. And through that, we've been able to really become something super beyond most animals. And as we can see in the world, we dominate this planet. Not because we are stronger or faster or can live longer or anything like that. The only thing that really makes us different from other creatures on this planet is the fact that we have an intellect. And by using this intellect, we are able to do so many things. We're able to make assessments, we're able to make comparisons and draw conclusions and develop science and develop technology. And using all these tools, now we have come to this very privileged and powerful position on this planet because of this buddhi. Of course, this buddhi is not necessarily a good or a bad thing. And the intellect can easily be abused. And we see, how we use our intelligence in negative ways when we look at how we develop weapons and arms and, and how we manipulate and exploit the situations using our intelligence. So buddhi by itself is not good or bad. It's just a very powerful tool. And like any tool, you can use it any way. If you have a hammer, you can make some furniture or make a sculpture, but with the same hammer, you can also break everything easily. So that's the same with the buddhi. You can be used positively or negatively, depending on where your motivation comes. So of course, for the process of enlightenment and spiritual evolution, we have to use all our faculties in a positive way. And so we have what now we call the 4 paths of yoga, which I've summarized. I hope you can see that on the screen, right? Yeah. So these 4 paths of yoga essentially address each one of those 4 parts of our personality, human personality. The 4 paths or 4 margas. And these have been described by many scriptures, of course, and I will take a few quotations from things like Bhagavad Gita and Yoga Sutras. So the first one we call the karma yoga, the yoga of the hands. As I said, it's about our actions. Not what actions we do, but what is our attitude when we do any action whatsoever. What is our approach, our attitude? Bhakti yoga, the yoga of the heart, path of devotion and self-surrender. So we know the heart represents our emotions. And I'm sure you all appreciate that our emotions are very powerful forces in our life. They can completely change our life. Take us very high, can also make us crash to the ground if our emotions get negative. So they're very powerful force, and if they're not managed properly, it can make our life chaotic. So the Bhakti Yoga is that aspect of yoga, that how we can tune our emotional energy into a very positive direction, and that positive direction we call devotion towards something greater than ourselves. And if we can do that, that force is very simple but very powerful force that can lift us to another level. As Swami Sivananda says, Bhakti Yoga is the easiest and safest yoga to practice because it's very powerful and quite simple. We all have emotions. The third path we call the Raja Yoga. It's the science of mastery of the mind. So the mastery of the mind, Raja means royal. So a Raja Yogi is someone who can control their own mind. What I called the lower mind earlier, the manas. That's the mind that can take us in all directions. It's often just sort of wants to get immediate pleasure and satisfaction at any cost. And that can usually get us into trouble if we allow our lower mind to dominate. So, but at the same time, it's our mind that is creating our actions and our karmas. So ultimately, our life is being created by our thinking. You know, as you think, so you become. So it depends on how we think, on how we will evolve. So for the Raja Yogi, they're aiming to, be able to control the mind and choose the kind of thoughts we want to have. And if we can do that, then that yogi really is royal. It's like, we can say, like a king of kings or queen of queens. A normal king might be able to have a lot of wealth and control a lot of the land and people. But can they control their own mind? Can they control their own thoughts and feelings? Mostly not. But for a Raja Yogi, they aim to have that self-discipline to be able to control their mind and keep the mind where they choose it. So this gives us tremendous strength and potential, and that's the Raja Yoga. And as we know, this is based on Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Finally, we have also the Jnana Yoga, the path of self-knowledge and wisdom. Jnana Yoga is really the yoga that is addressed to that higher mind that we talked about, the buddhi. So the buddhi has to be stimulated and focused in a specific direction. The buddhi, as we said, is our very powerful tool that we have, the reason and logic. And if we can direct this force towards our spiritual evolution, we can go to a very high level very quickly. But at the same time, rather difficult to keep that higher mind, that intellect, in the dominant position. Normally we are overcome by our own feelings and emotions and distractions in life and our attachments to everyday things. And that usually dominates our life and causes, blockages and makes our evolution slow. So to practice the Jnana Yoga really well, one needs a very highly developed mind. So generally speaking, we say it's through the other three yogas, the Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Raja Yoga, that we purify the mind and we learn how to train the mind. And then with a well-purified and disciplined mind, we can focus our mind in Jnana Yoga, which is based on the scriptures and more philosophical inquiry into who am I? What is my ultimate truth? Okay. So I'm just going to briefly review each one again. So I've taken the first quotation here from Bhagavad Gita to describe the path of Karma Yoga, chapter 247. Krishna says to Arjuna, you have the right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of actions. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So this is the basic teaching of Karma Yoga. that we all end up in life in certain situations in life. Each one of us has a unique situation. And according to that situation, we all have certain duties that are norms for human society. So we cannot avoid those. And it's our right that we should do what we are supposed to do according to our situation. But according to our actions, we cannot dictate the results of these actions. Of course, we'd always try for successful results, but at the end of the day, we know there's nothing we can guarantee in life. I can't even guarantee I'll be alive today or tomorrow. Anything can happen anytime. So in a way, we have to accept the results of life, the actions, as prasad from the divine, from Ishvara, we say, who we believe is running the whole show. And whatever comes is really what Ishvara has decided, and we say through the process of karma. And so we do things to the best of our ability, but without attachment to what we expect as a result. Whatever the result comes, again, we will take that as our duty to deal with that result. So very easily people will say, well, with no desire or attachment for results, how do I motivate myself to do something if I don't have any ambition or goals in life? And that's a relevant question. What is going to give me the motivation to do things? So here Krishna simply says, well, do not become attached to the idea of not doing anything, because that is a negative way of taking karma yoga, that you really don't need to do anything. You can simply be and exist without doing anything, and that is enough. No, that is never enough, because if we look at our life clearly and objectively, you will see that in any situation we have certain duties. No person is an island, right? No one is completely living in a complete isolation somewhere with no connections. We are all having connections, if not even with people, but at least with nature and maybe animals and environment. We are all in some situations. So as long as we are in relationships, we will have duties. So there's no way we can escape duties. And the point of karma yoga is do whatever duties needs to be done to the best of your ability, and then accept the results without attachments. That way we will actually get the peace of mind, and we will be able to deal with our biggest challenge in our spiritual evolution. What is the biggest challenge we have in our spiritual evolution? Of course, is our ego. This idea that I am something different, I am something unique and separate from everything and everyone. That fundamental point is called the ahamkara, the ego idea. It's basically an idea, and actually we said that idea came out of our intellect. It's been developed by the intellect, but it's a false idea, and because of that false ignorance called asmita, we are in this predicament as human beings, suffering. So karma yoga is one of the best ways to challenge our ego, to do things without expectations. Every time we do that, our ego will always put its head up and make some counter arguments, and doesn't like that kind of an attitude. So as long as we're doing karma yoga, we are basically, reducing our ego and purifying our ego and bringing it under some level of control. So now coming to bhakti yoga, this is again from Bhagavad Gita. In the 7th chapter, Krishna describes 4 types of people who worship God. And the first and very common one is people who are in distress, what they call artha. Whenever we are having problems, we will always think of God. Even if you're an atheist, probably, we'll start praying to God. But as long as everything is going fine, we don't really, God can do his thing and I'll do my thing. We don't really bother about God much. We don't remember God. But when we're having difficulties then, and we have no solutions, then we will definitely think about God. So that is one aspect. Then people who want to gain things, who want to get more benefits in life. So artarthi, desirous for gains, people will pray to God for results. And then people who are just interested and curious about this factor, what is God? And this is called jignasu, seekers of knowledge. But then Krishna says his dearest devotees are the selfless and the wise, the jnanis, who recognize that there is no difference between God and myself. And to desire God is really to know myself only. That is the purest reason, with no agenda, no conditions. Just it's not, you could say it's a desire, but it's also based on a certain knowledge that I and God are one, and that I should know that. So that is the selfless approach. So all of these are really forms of devotion, just different levels of devotion, why we want to approach God. And the purest way to approach God is to know God so that we know ourselves. And that is the height of Bhakti Yoga. Now, coming on to Raja Yoga, this is based on the famous statement of Patanjali, Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha, that yoga, the ultimate state of yoga is when the mind is still. And when we are in that situation, we will recognize ourselves for what we are. Otherwise, as Patanjali says in the next verse, we are always identifying with our thoughts. Whatever we are thinking is what we take ourselves to be. And therefore we end up all over the place because our mind goes everywhere and anywhere. So we're never really stable in our mind, and therefore we're never really stable in our own identity because of the fluctuating nature of the mind. So how to achieve that stillness of mind? And of course, the meditation is the classic description of Patanjali, but there are the other systems which are more coming from the Tantra tradition of Kundalini and Hatha Yoga, using the physical body to control our energy. And by controlling our energy, we are ultimately going to control our mind. So this is the Kundalini Yoga and Hatha Yoga. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry, I'm in a meeting. Okay, thank you. What? Keep it here. Thank you so much. Well, you can find Kalyani next door. She'll be there. Thank you. Sorry for that. So Kundalini Yoga, Hatha Yoga, we take it as part of Raja Yoga. Of course, it's not the classical Patanjali, but it comes to the same effect of working with our body and breath to control our mind. So, of course, Patanjali does mention asana pranayam, but in a very superficial and limited way compared to Hatha Yoga and Kundalini Yoga. Finally, we come to the Jnana Yoga. Here I'm taking a quotation from the Adi Guru, Advaita Guru Shankaracharya, who is taken as you could say, the father of Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, Adi Shankaracharya. So he summarized the whole wisdom of Advaita Vedanta in those 3 statements, which I'm sure you're familiar with: Brahma, Satyam, Jagat, Mithya, Jiva, Brahmeva, Na Paraha. Meaning, Brahman is the absolute truth, that which does not change. Jagat, Mithya. Jagat refers to the manifest universe. Jagat, the universe. Mithya, it is an apparent reality, but it is not an absolute reality. Why? Because by Advaita Vedanta standards, one can only be absolutely real if it is unchanging and permanent. And of course, if we look at the universe around, we never find anything that is permanent. Everything we observe is changing, including ourselves, our body, our mind, our thoughts, our feelings. It is all part of that Jagat Mithya. So in one statement, Shankaracharya dismisses the whole universe as unreal. And then his closing statement is the crest jewel, Jiva Brahmeva Naparaha. He's very boldly saying that the individual consciousness, individual soul, is identical to the universal soul Brahman, Brahmeva. So that the individual is in essence nothing but Brahman, the absolute. And this is extremely bold statement, of course. Atma and Brahman are one. You know, people like Jesus Christ were crucified for saying something like this: I and my Father are one. For most religions, this will be taken as blasphemy, and it's almost a sure way to get yourself excommunicated or even executed if you're in the wrong hands. So very boldly, this is the message of Vedanta, that you and the Absolute are no different. You are not a part of it. You are. That's your essential nature. And to know that is what is called liberation and moksha. And of course, like all the yogas, even Jnana Yoga has its methods. So I'll briefly mention the method of Jnana Yoga. It's based on the 3 steps of Yoga Sadhana, Jnana Yoga Sadhana. First is the Shravanam. Shravana is that we should, first of all, be exposed to the teachings, which are in the form of the Shrutis, the Vedas, particularly Upanishads, where this knowledge is described. Having heard that knowledge, one should think about it and understand it. That's called Mananam, reasoning it out. And then having understood and accepted it, then imbibing it deeply into our mind. And this is called the Nididhyasanam. Continuous, profound contemplation and integration of the teaching of the truth. So these are the 3 steps of Jnana Yoga. The most challenging, difficult yoga I mentioned, because it's a purely intellectual function. There's nothing to do with the body or the feelings or the hands. It's all working on the intellectual level. But ultimately, as Shankaracharya says, this is the only means to real liberation, is through knowledge. Only by the knowledge that we can actually come to final liberation. But as long as there's ignorance, we are never really free. So this is the teaching of Shankaracharya. Now, I'd like to conclude with the teachings of Swami Sivananda. Swami Sivananda was an unusual and fantastic guru. He could communicate with people in all languages, and he was very fond of kirtan singing, and he used to write kirtan and many songs in English as well, like this one. So these are 2 songs actually, the song of attendees, and then the Serve Love song, which is actually the motto of the Divine Life Society: serve, love, give, purify, meditate, realize. Those 6 words describe the whole process of the synthesis of yoga. Through service, that's the karma yoga, we develop, purify our heart so that we can start to love and give. That becomes the bhakti yoga. And then through the purified heart and mind, we can start to meditate the mind, control the mind. And then through the deep meditation, we come to the final stage of realization, which we call the Jnana Yoga. There's meditation, Raja Yoga, and realize the Jnana Yoga. So it's a process that Swami Sivananda says in a very simple way. So I'm going to sing this for you. I'm going to try anyway. And if you wish, you can join in. You can. I'll try to give you the right tune. I always struggle particularly with the song of attendees. But let's give it a go. Oh, eat a little, drink a little, talk a little, sleep a little, mix a little, move a little, serve a little, rest a little, work a little, relax a little, study a little, worship a little, do asana a little, pranayama a little, reflect a little, meditate a little, do japa a little, do kirtan a little, write mantra a little, have satsang a little. Serve, love, give, purify, meditate, realize. Be good, do good, be kind, be compassionate. Serve, love, give, purify, meditate, realize. Be good, do good, be kind, be compassionate. So I'm going to encourage you all you don't have to unmute yourselves, but you sing along because it's through the through the vocal vibrations, you will get the energy of the song. And we'll just do the last, the second one, the easy one. So all together. Serve, love, give, purify, meditate, realize. Be good, do good, be kind, be compassionate. Serve, love, give, purify, meditate, realize. Be good, do good, be kind, be compassionate. Inquire, who am I? Know thyself and be free. Inquire, who am I? Know thyself and be free. You will soon attain immortality. You will soon attain immortality. Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om. Om Shanti, Om Peace, Om Shalom, Om. Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om. Om Shanti, Om Peace, Om Shalom, Om. Thank you. I'm going to stop on that note. I will just chant the final mantra, and then I think if we have time for question and answer, so very happy to hear from you. But let me chant the final shloka. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bolo Sadguru Sivananda Maharaj ki Jai. Swami Vishnu Devananda Maharaj ki Jai. Om Tat Sat. Thank you for your attention and participation.
Thank you very much, sir. I would encourage everyone to share their views. And if any questions, please feel free. And we are being blessed that today we have this satsang with Dr. Nataraj. Please, everyone.
Namaste, Natraj.
Namaste. Hello, sir.
Very enlightening session. I'm going to pick on two, and which obviously we'll try to, cement it. Already cemented, but you mentioned that if the saints and the sages were in today's times, contemporary times, they would have been the biggest scientists.
Yes.
And yoga is a science, and this science is going to remain eternal. Okay, so that's great. And the second is, we'll salute, you for being very creative and innovative in developing those, the last poems.
It's not my creation. Thank you. It was Swami Sivananda.
So yeah, and
just
good, I
sharing.
think that will be something would probably try. I mean, give it a try. Put it that way.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
Nataraj, till everyone asks or shares their views, I have this question in my mind. We all are very curious to know, like you being into the medical profession now, 30 years or 3 decades almost, you're in yoga. So how was your acquaintance with yoga, and what were those milestones which actually, or those incidences that actually made you get into this lineage?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. It was in my mid-30s that I was going through my own personal sort of crisis, you could say. Like we heard earlier, artarti, when we are distressed, we start looking for help. So I was working in the medical field, but I was finding it quite stressful both on the career front as well as on the personal front at that time, in my own personal relationship with my first wife. And I made a very important decision for myself at that point, that I knew I could be happy. I have been happy in my life, particularly in my childhood and younger days, and that's possible, and that I deserve to be happy in life. And but also I should also recognize that if I want to be happy, I have to take responsibility for it. I can't be depending on others to make me happy, not my wife or my job or anything really. I have to take that ultimate responsibility. And so because I was distressed to that extreme, I was prepared to sacrifice things. So I took about 2 years out of my life there, and actually through counseling, I went through a period of counseling. I was still working, but I was also taking counseling, putting everything on hold. And then incidentally, I started doing yoga classes. At that time, when I was in London, working in London, and we have a center in London. And very quickly, the effect of yoga transformed me. Not only the physical things, but I did a meditation and I got introduced to Vedanta. And as soon as I heard those lessons of Vedanta, something really crystallized in my mind, and things that were floating around in my head since my childhood, I would say, just kind of fell into place, into like a very clear picture, crystal picture about what is life and what is the reality of life. And that was extremely inspiring for me, particularly because it gave me the feeling of being connected again back to my childhood when I was very happy, actually. So that gave me a lot of encouragement that this was really, I was onto a real thing here. And as it was, because I was in the yoga center there, I just got associated with that center and more. There was in 96 and 97, I decided to come to India to do the teacher's training course here in Neyyar Dam. Little did I think I would be living in this place. At that time, I was just a student, and like everybody else, one of many students. I never imagined I would be living here and teaching here. So it's funny how karma works out. God, Ishwara's plans, as we say, we just accept Ishwara's plans. We don't really know what's going to happen to us in life. And of course, I'm very happy to be here and still be part of it. And I feel very blessed to be connected to Swami Vishnu Devananda and Swami Sivananda, their protection and guidance all the time. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We actually do know that today you are running out of time because we have a batch which is just being started. So on behalf of our family, Swasti Yoga family, I would request everyone to unmute and give a big round of applause to sir.
Thank you. Thanks for joining.
And thank you very much, sir, for blessing us with this kind words and the knowledge. A small token of appreciation from our end. So thank you very much. And we will just chant 3 rounds of Om, and we will conclude today's session. Bring our back straight. Let's close. Slowly inhalation. Place your warm palms in your eyes. Slowly open your eyes from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.